All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Krakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. So when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 15 on down, all the way down to verse 68, are a list of all the curses that the Lord's promised that he'll put on us if we disobeyed his law, statutes, and commandments. Right. But on the flip side, on a more positive note, from Deuteronomy 1 to 14, it talks about all the blessings we will receive if we do follow it, man. All right. So the Lord is not all about, cursing and things of that nature. He's a balanced power, man. As much as he curses, he loves to bless too, man. All right. But this is I'm gonna jump down to verse 68. Is really the point I wanted to get to. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right. So the last curse, according to the scriptures, according to this chapter, would be us going into captivity by way of ships, right? And what people has went into captivity by the way of boats, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. All right? We're going to go to a land, or we're going to leave our land and we'll never see it again until the Lord brings us back to it. All right? But in this land, we will be sold to our enemies, right? And who will we sold to, man? We're sold to literally every nation under the sun. Because Jacob was spread out to the four corners of the earth. And also with the transatlantic slave trade, we moved from one hemisphere to the other. But also, even after this transatlantic slave trade, you still have Jake being moved and shipped all through the four corners of earth by the way of kidnapping and, trafficking and things of that nature. But really the point I wanted to get to, being long and drawn out, Salakia, is who were sold to our enemies, man. And how we should never trust our enemies at the end of the day, man. All right. Deuteronomy 28:68 once more. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. When you go into that word buy, it means redeem, man. No nation, all right, no nation has ever said, we want to redeem the people back, man. We want to redeem you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans back, man. No nation has ever come out and said that. You might have a few Hamite nations that may have said, we apologize for selling y'all. But no nation has ever said, let's make things right. Let's bring you back. Even though we're not African. So there's no quote-unquote Hamite, not quote-unquote, but there's no Hamite nation that can say, you'll come back home, children of Israel. Because that's an oxymoron. But really the point I want to bring out with this is, with this tweet that came out, it says, a 2012 study found that 79% of Planned Parenthood's surgical abortion facilities were located within walking distance of a black or Hispanic neighborhood. Right? You think that's coincidence? No, this is strategically planned, right? And this is why they're trying to overturn, things such as Roe v. Wade and abortion of that nature. Because the tool that they use to destroy us was really harming them as well. All right. So what that caused is them to be losing their own population. When I say they, I'm talking about Edomites, man. You so-called white people, man. They started losing. You see their birth their birth numbers they're dying quicker than they're being born. All right. And abortion is one of those factors. Abortion, fentanyl and opioid abuse, suicide, things of that nature. All right, so they're dying off quicker than they're born, which is why you're seeing a push of this Pride Month nonsense, man. because pride, this so-called alphabet community's pride, right? They're pushing this. It's really a form of birth control at the end of the day. It helps to dwindle the numbers of you so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is why you saw pride, alphabet pride, Leviticus 20 and 13. Pride pushed so much during the Black Lives Matters movement, man. All right, because these people are out to get you, man. These are your enemies, right? Continuing on this tweet, using 2010 census data, this study documented the racial demographics of each census tract similar to a neighborhood within a 2-mile radius of each Planned Parenthood's 163 surgical abortion facilities operating in 2010. Right. So these people out here, they set up strategic abortion centers, right, for you so-called Blacks and Hispanics, man. All right. And this is why what the scripture says in Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy. And who are your enemies? All right. Again, our enemies are every nation that we sold to, right? And we were sold to to every nation under the sun, man. There's an Israelite in every nation under the sun. There are Israelites, plural, in every nation under the sun. And 10 times out of 10, when you go to another country or you see the poverty, people living in poverty in other countries, 10 times out of 10 is going to be mostly Jake living in poverty and things of that nature, man. All right. All right. Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, right? Scripture tells us plainly to never trust our enemy, man. Because our enemies will never do anything that'll be beneficial to us, man. Your enemies will never tell you who you are, where you came from, to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because that will put them in captivity at the end of the day. Once they realize who their power is, man, once we realize who our power is and start obeying our power, then when we read the list of blessings in Deuteronomy 28, these are things that we'll receive, man. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Right? You will no longer be the tail. You will no longer will be the nation that's running things. Our nation will be the ones that other nations are coming to for resources, right? For order, right? Our nation will be the ones that basically just like Esau has the Federal Reserve and he has control of that. Our nations will have a similar sort of setup where we'll control the finances and how things operate, right? And we'll do things in order, man. All right. But our enemies don't want that, because when we're in rulership for the last time, being that we'll never leave out of rulership again. When we're in rulership, our enemies will be in captivity, man. All right. Judith 5 and 3, and he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill of the country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army, and why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? Right. So these people, who are these people? They're inquiring about the nation of Israel, you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. So now, Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, is about to explain who the Israelites are. He's about to go into the history of the Israelites and why they went into captivity and who their power is. He's about to answer all of his questions, man. All right. So let me just go straight to the point. I'm not going to read all of this. All right. Judith 5 and 19. But now are they returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill of the country, for it was desolate. All right. Our sanctuary is in Jerusalem. All right, the land of Israel, man. This is our true home. So, our home is in Africa, right? We can never, you'll see Edomite or a scoffer, right? Or, an ignorant person at the end of the day will say things such as, go back to Africa. Nigga, we ain't come from Africa, man. All right, we fled to Africa, right? Because of the raid of Jerusalem in 70 AD, man. From about, we fled to Africa for protection, right? Just like Yahweh Shai, fled to Egypt, Salakia. Yeah, Khan. But that's how men of renown have fled to Egypt for protection, man. And why is that? Because they fled to a land where everybody looked the same, right? We may have the same skin complexion as a so-called African or Hamite, but we are not the same people. We don't even look alike. If you look at a Hamite and you look at either a Judite, a Levite, or a Benjamite, we do not look the same, man. You could clearly see facial differences, man. Actually, in the Bible dictionary, it tells you that Ham was a progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes, man. Even the bone structures will tell you that we're different people, man. All right? Judith 5:20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. Right? At the end of the day, he's saying, if these people are following the law, statutes, and commandments, right, then, their Lord is going to defend them. Our power will defend us, right? He said, but if there be no iniquity in their nation. And what is iniquity? Iniquity is sin. And what is sin? Sin is the transgression of the law, man. If we go to the book of 1 John chapter 3, 1 John 3 and 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. All right. So, as long as our nation is not committing iniquity, all right, and abortion is iniquity too. As long as our nation is not committing iniquity, our power is going to be on our side, man. But since we are a sinful nation, right? Since we're a sinful kingdom, the Lord is judging us by setting up our enemies over us, man. And what do they do when they're over us, man? They do things like this, man. They put a clinic where you could literally walk to and sacrifice your unborn child, right? In your neighborhood, man. If there are this is 2012 when this study was released. So we'll say, in 2012, let's say there was 300 million people in Babylon living in a population of Babylon, right? Because right now it's about like 330, 340, right? So let's say 10 years ago, it was at 280, 300. Why are the majority of these clinics inside of a so-called black or a so-called Hispanic neighborhood, man? Why are the majority of these clinics nearby one of them, right? When the so-called white man is the majority, on paper, is the majority of citizens of Babylon, majority of the population of Babylon, how is it that the majority of these places are near Edomite neighborhoods, man? How do you finagle that, man? This is why it's called Planned Parenthood. This is a fucking tactic, man. This is a strategy of war, right? Esau is a planner, man. He doesn't act based on, at least not yet. He doesn't act based on, because Revelation 12:12 says he knows that he has a short time. He's gonna have that great wrath, right? He's gonna go buck wild once the Lord unleashes him, man. All right, but he doesn't, plan things for, right now or this year. Esau thinks 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in advance, man. So what he's doing is destroying the next generation, right? Destroying the minds and the lives of the next generation, right? Because if you destroy the next generation, then the generations after that will more likely be destroyed too, man. This is a tactic. This is a war tactic at the end of the day, man. All right, keep these people destroyed, keep them fed on GMO foods, right? Have them in a lustful society with free pornography and promote promiscuity with their women. This is why you don't see a female rapper that's popular that's not naked, man. There's not. You can't find a popular female rapper that doesn't rap about a man's rod or her box, man. It's all vulgarity, right? And so you create a society like that with promiscuity, right? The GMO foods, right? The propaganda, right? And destroying the minds of the children by giving them access to things such as social media. Why is there a YouTube for kids, man? And then when you watch these YouTube kids videos, they're through too. There was that one point in time where that one video of that nigga Lil Nas X was twerking on the devil, and that was a YouTube Kids video, and it was on the front page of YouTube Kids. So what is their plan, man? Their plan is to destroy Jake, man. All right, but the problem is all their planning and tools that they use to destroy us, right, are now being used against them, man. Psalms 37 and 14, the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation, right? And that sword, right, is the killing instrument of the Lord, man. But he gave it to Esau Edom. So Esau Edom, the so-called white man's blessing, is the sword, and he's using it by any means necessary. Now it's not just a literal sword. It could be the military will count as a sword of Esau Edom. The nuclear weapons counts as a sword of Esau Edom. Shit, the food counts as a sword of Esau Edom because it's used to destroy Jake, right? Social media is counted as a sword of Esau Edom, right? The music, the movies, all these are counted as a sword for Esau Edom because it destroys Jake's mind, man. And when you destroy somebody's mind, hey, you ain't got to worry about their body, man. All right. Psalms 37 and 15. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Right. Their sword, the tools that they're using, is going to be entered into their own heart. Right. This is why these Planned Parenthoods are backfiring, because Esau Edom is lining up to get these abortions too. Right. These opioid and fentanyl, though that's being used against Esau Edom too. All right, this is why, because back in the day, it was frowned upon to pop pills. When I was growing up, back in early 2000s, early 2010s, rappers and musicians didn't sing about popping pills, right? That was some quote unquote white boy shit, right? All Jake wanted to do was drink and smoke weed. But now it's going more graphic. Now popping pills is popular among Jake because they're trying to push that vibration onto Jake because it's heavy upon Esau, man. But that's the sword is being entered into their own heart. All right, this is another reason why too. This is why they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. This is why they created so-called weapons of mass destruction and used that propaganda to have an excuse to invade Iraq and Afghanistan, to take control of the poppy fields and the opium fields. All right, this is why you see this drug epidemic. It really popped off around 2002, 2003, man. Because if you watch the show The Wire, I believe The Wire came out in like the year 2002. But they even then, they were talking about fentanyl and stuff like that, man. Why is that? Because this is the time it got popular because of where it came from, man. So, really the point being to never trust our enemies because they're out to get you, man. These people are out to get you, man. And they're doing a great job, but it's not working as well as they planned it to be. So now, the time is coming where they're going to ramp shit up, man. They're going to ramp shit up. And Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right? And this is why we're literally seeing the days being shortened too. For the elect's sake, man. Because, if Esau prolonged in his rulership for another 10, 20, 50, 100 years, man, No flesh is going to be saved, man. They're going buck wild. They're about to go buck wild, man. This is why you're seeing the propaganda for AI being pushed so heavily, man. This is why you're seeing the propaganda for cryptocurrency and digital currency and the Fed now being pushed now, man. All right, because they know their time is up, man. All their tactics they used wasn't strong enough, man. Hey, just like in ancient Egypt, the more Pharaoh oppressed us, the more we grew in numbers. It's just like now in modern day Egypt, which is America, man. The more we're getting oppressed, the more Esau pushes, the more people are going to wake up and say, yo, something ain't right. And they're going to try to navigate towards the truth, man. All right, but I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say Shalom and Abba Ball.